Do you remember when you bought your last new car? You were in the car lot, you paid a lot of money, you couldn't wait to get that car out of there. Show it to your friends and to your family. What a shame that the minute you drove that car off, you already lost a few $100s. 6 months to a year later, you lost a couple of $1,000s. Not exactly the best financial investment I can think of. What about your last family trip? Isn't it exciting to plan? But for me, the best part, of course, is once you get there, a couple of weeks of sunshine, a couple of weeks with your family, you take lots of pictures. And I always ask myself, why do I take all those pictures? So I have something to remember it by. Well, how long do you look at those pictures? After a few weeks, those pictures are put in a box, in a shoebox, with the intent of putting them in an album. I can tell you that I have lots and lots of shoeboxes. After a while, the memory fades. Nice trip, good time, but the memory fades. Well, about 7 years ago, as Dr. Perry just mentioned, I decided the heck with the new car, the heck with the trip. Let me make an investment in myself. I made an investment that continues to yield great interest. I call it a gift I gave to myself that keeps on giving. Now you probably wonder and say, what the heck is she getting at? So let me back up a little and tell you a little bit about myself. I've always been somewhat self-conscious and cared very much about my appearance, as far back as I can remember. I was the girl who wanted to be dressed up in a dress and look pretty. Well, as I got older, I still wanted to look the best I could and work with what I had. We do have control over some things. Now, I've got to tell you that. I love to eat, which means my weight goes up and my weight goes down. The minute my weight goes up, I put myself on a diet and I lose those 5 pounds because it's easier to lose 5 pounds than 25 pounds. So I have control over that. I also like to keep my body tight, so I go to the gym. I have control over that. If I don't want my skin to be ruined 100% and look very wrinkly and dry, I don't go into the sun, or at the very least, I put very strong sunblock on. All that we can do for ourselves on our own. However, what we can do, no matter how much lotion you put on your face, no matter how many times you run and have a facial, Mother Nature takes over after a while, and that skin will sag. The skin will sag, and along with it, the volume decreases. The volume you need in your face to keep that youthful look. Remember the little babies? Look at them. Why are they so cute? Because you want to pinch their cheeks. It's those cheeks that are so fat and round that make them look young and gives them the volume. Okay, I still look pretty good even in my 40s. I thought, not bad for an older lady. I put on my makeup every morning, looked in the mirror, and off to work I went. By 5 o'clock was another story, of course. I looked a little beat, but I could deal with it. When I was about 48, something happened that really made me think about, what am I going to do? I took my son, I had a son at 39. I took my son to the photographer for his annual picture. And there was a very young girl sitting there with her fairly new baby, and she looked up at me and said the most devastating words I have ever heard. Oh, are you here with your grandson? I can still feel the blood drain out of my face. And of course my son, the minute he got home, could not wait to run to my husband and to his older sisters. You're not going to believe this! People think that this is my grandmother. Oh my God, that did it. I had a choice now. What are you going to do? You want to look old with a son who thinks you're the grandmother, or people think you're the grandmother, or are you going to do something about it? So I started my research. I was 48 years old. I felt energetic. My body was okay, but guess what? My face just did not match the way I felt inside. So I went to see a couple of doctors, went to a couple of presentations like this, and I didn't like the 2 doctors I met. I'm not going to go into who they were. I didn't like them. It didn't feel like this was the person who was going to do anything to me. Then I met Claire, and Claire, to this day, I love talking to her. I love it when she leaves a message on my phone because I can feel and see that smile. She just has that voice, that soothing voice. It makes me feel comfortable. Then I went into the room to meet Dr. Perry. I'm sitting down, and in comes this tall guy. The first thing I see are his sneakers. I'm saying, oh my God, this person is a real human. He's not this pompous doctor. I kept looking up, and there he had his hands in his pocket. Now don't get mad, with a little tear on the side of his jacket. I mean, I'm saying to myself, this is a real person. He's not there to just take my money. He was so patiently listening to me. Let me tell you, you hear me talk. I didn't stop for half an hour. I had questions, boom, 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 boom. And he answered every single one of them. He told me what to expect realistically. I was, at that point, almost 50 years old. I wasn't going to look like 20, nor do I want to look like 20. My kids were already close to 30 at that point. I didn't want to look that young. I just wanted to look the best I could possibly look and match that energy. You see how I'm energized all the time? I wanted to match that. Well, guess what I did? I booked my appointment for the day before my 50th birthday, February 11, 1999. I celebrated my 50th birthday all by myself, with the bandage around my head. But guess what? No black balloons. Nobody who said, over the hill, over the hill. I was anxiously awaiting for those bandages to come off, as everybody can attest to who had a facelift done. Well, a few days later, I saw Dr. Perry, and he took those bandages off, and he gave me a mirror. I almost fainted from pleasure. I was bruised, of course, a little bruised, and I had some swelling, but I could already see such a difference. I said, oh my God, I can't believe it. I mean, I just loved myself. A few more days went by, the swelling went down a little more. I was able to cover up the bruises with makeup, and guess what I did? I took 100 pictures of myself, and I sent them out to everybody I knew on the internet. And I wrote underneath it, look at that face, isn't it gorgeous? Sorry, I loved myself. So, you know something, besides giving me a more youthful look, Dr. Perry did something else that I didn't have to pay for at all. He gave me the confidence that Peter talked about. Confidence also means you're in a great mood. I get up in the morning, I go to work, first I look in the mirror, I say, oh God, you look great. I have a smile on for the rest of the day. I work in the public, I see people all the time. Everybody wants to be around someone who is in a good mood and who's positive. Do you like to be around miserable people? I don't, they bring me down. I like to be up. Everybody gravitates around me. And I'm going to tell you, it's not because I think I look great for my age. I think it's because of that wonderful attitude I have, which I owe to him. He never told me about this. He would throw it in. Of course, I did have a couple of other things done afterwards, as Dr. Perry said, because I did have a little bit of fat right here on the side, and all the exercising in the world, ladies, trust me, will not help that. So why not see Dr. Perry? I deserve it. So he took care of that, and we did the facial rejuvenation. So that meant I could no longer go in the sun because, hey, let's face it, you know, I know now.
You can't. You don't want to do what
you don't want to do it. Not after what you go through. You know, you really don't want to ruin that nice skin. I mean, there are still times when I tell people, you want to feel my skin? Doesn't it feel like a 15-year-old? And it does. I mean, thanks to Dr. Perry. So you know something, ladies and gentlemen? In my opinion, my life was not over at 50. In my opinion, my second life started at 50. I am now 57 years old. When I look in the mirror in the morning, I think about Dr. Perry, and I say to myself, I've only just begun to live. Thank you, Dr. Perry.